Hello! On today's show, we have violence, blood, and boobies, and kingdoms, but it's not Game of Thrones.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talks. I talk movie.
That's a lot of epicness. And you talk movies. Yeah, I'm glad that people recognize that. Thanks for watching Otaku Movie Anatomy. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment on iTunes. Hit that thumbs up on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at The Popcorn Talk. We apologize for being a little late.
I'm not
because
sorry.
we just wanted to amp up you guys, for Berserk.
Yeah.
It's the action fantasy that everyone knows or no one knows.
We were shouting
because
boobies too much and they made us stop, so it took a while for us to stop chanting the word boobies.
We couldn't stop saying boobies. So today we are going to cover Berserk, The Golden Age, the first and second movies. The reason we decided to do the first and second movies is because we want to save the third movie for the Berserk 2016 release of the series.
I watched it already 4 times.
Stop.
We're not talking about that, Blitz. You're supposed to have never watched this. That is our gimmick, and you're messing it up. With us today is our usual character.
Hello, I am Michelle Trebibunny. You can find me on the internet, and I am a Trebibunny. We are only doing Russian accent. No,
okay.
Not even Asian does it.
Okay.
And then we have our special guests here. Please introduce yourselves.
Going along with Russian
Goddamn.
accent,
Oh, yes.
my name is Wes Johnson. I am Wes, the editor on the internet. Yeah, I don't think so.
I invited
This is
them.
fine. Yeah, this is my real voice, actually.
I told them to come here.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Well, thank you for this. Yeah.
And who are you?
I don't think there are.
I hate you. Just do it normal.
I don't think I've never seen a black Russian except in a cup or a glass and it's sweet tasting. So that's what I am.
Oh my god. If you were Russian and watching our show, we were so sorry.
Not
Wow,
sorry.
you know.
Sorry.
We know nothing
Sorry
about
about
Russia,
It's a mixed bag.
obviously.
I love you.
And I'm Maxwell Song. I'll be your host. These new movies that came out are these kind of like 3D, 2D movies, and this is kind of in the cusp of when like 3D movies are starting to circulate more. I don't know why they chose Berserk to make a 3D movie out of, because it's kind of like the last franchise I would ever think to have 3D in it. Well, in terms of like the success of it or whatever, we'll discuss that later, but here's a quick rundown. The first movie is called The Golden Age, The Egg of the King.
Egg of the King.
And
If you don't know what it's
basically-
about, you think it's the king who lays eggs.
No.
You do.
It's a king.
He's
Let's
also
talk
Egg of the
about what
King.
I think
Okay,
the show's
that is actually true. I give you that. Yeah, that is
I
what.
love Egg
That's
in
what
the
this is
Morning.
about.
Yeah, it's the king of
My
the golden
king.
geese from Willy Wonka's
Yeah,
Chocolate
and
Factory.
it's like a brunch episode. Like, it's just so great,
Yeah, let's not make kids actually want to watch this because they're going to be in for a horrific surprise.
If you are a child or thinking about being a child, do not watch it.
That's a good, yeah.
And the second movie that we're covering is the Battle of Doldre, which I believe there was this Golden Age arc in the manga and in the anime, which it covers basically Guts and Griffith's life.
Guts is
the main character.
along with Griffith.
Which
who
is kind of the
also-
main character, but also is the main protagonist.
Yeah, I like to compare. It's like
Antagonist.
a
Antagonist.
a
Thank you.
Cain and Abel
English.
type deal.
Yeah.
The star-crossed brothers as opposed to lovers.
I don't know. I don't know. But basically that movie came out in June of 2012, and then the third movie came out February 1st, 2013. We're not going to cover the third movie.
It's so good though.
It is very good, but it's also very gory. Even more gory than these first two movies.
Allegory.
So the manga was created by Kentaro Mura, and this has been running from 1990. The manga has been running from 1990.
The year West was born.
And it's still running, is it not?
It is still
I
running.
believe it's still running.
It is
The
still
manga is
running.
still going.
Wait, the
They're-
manga
It is
yeah.
on. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I can't imagine what they're doing.
Oh my god.
I can
Levels
guess.
it.
I can guess.
Butts everywhere.
Butts, vagina, boob.
Game of Thrones.
There's a lot of boobs.
But it's so amazing how, because the first and second movie you get so in tune with the characters.
Mm-hmm.
The third movie, it's like you're now in tune with the universe.
Yes.
It
shows more.
We can't talk about that right now. So.
Side note, just a little introduction. If you are on Le Chats, you may talk to us if you want. We'll ignore you or say hello to you as we please.
I'm going to say
Chat.
hello
We
right
have
now.
all the
Hello.
controls.
So far, we had like
Everyone in
one
the
person
chat
be mad that
room.
we're late, and that's about
Le
it.
Chat, which is French for the chat.
But you may talk to
Indeed.
us if you feel like you want to.
We would love for
Only in
you to
Russian.
join our discussion. There's a lot to discuss.
Boobs.
This has been a very huge beloved series, at least for me. I don't know what it was about it, but it's like adult manga. This is probably Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones. Like, it has that same a visceral tone. You know,
It's where Game of Thrones needs to finally go.
It's because in a weird way, the first couple of movies, you just kind of get the kingdom, you know, and you don't really see any of the magical elements. There are little specks of magical elements, in Game of Thrones, and then you know how kind of goes crazy and all the frost people come and all that shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's basically kind of how Berserk develops after the third movie. But the first two movies is this kind of really good, kind of a fantasy mercenary story.
Powerful boys become men in the first, a powerful potential force. Basically, Griffith, who is already a force in his own right.
He is loved by all.
He meets Guts, who is a reckless, powerful being, and together they become an unstoppable force, along with Casca, who is the third, and if you look at it at the trilogy.
She's also kind of
totally
the love
alone.
interest slash.
Who is always needing fucking help. Seriously.
Not all the time.
Not all the time.
Not all the
movies.
time.
Yeah.
I'm only talking about the movies. She's always fucking needing help.
I mean,
Or
she's
being
not
mad at
Lois
somebody.
Lane, but yes. She's.
I mean, she does mess up a lot of people. In the second movie, she kills that dude.
Yes.
She
And
takes over a whole
That was
castle.
her.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
that's what she's better at. She's Black Widow, right? She's an assassin. She's the
She's
one
smart.
you don't see coming. She's the but when it comes to a stand-up fight, she couldn't fight this one guy because she was kind of off balance because it was the
She
third
had
week in
her
a month.
period.
she had her ladies problem
Yeah, she had a
day.
They
period
had to
and she had
show.
a fever and all sorts of stuff. She passed out and fell off a cliff.
It must have been pretty bad.
Spoilers.
To be fair, that's kind of like a
Oh,
trope
no,
in
we can talk
regular
about it.
regular manga. That's just regular manga and anime. I want to ganbaru and try my best, but I have a fever, but I won't tell anybody, and then I'm gonna pass out on the school grounds, and then my love interest will pick me up and take me to the school nurse.
I always thought it was kind of a weird thing too,
happens?
and I'm obvious. This is more of a trope, and I have understand that it can be a devastating
What does
thing,
trope
but
mean? Define it. What is the actual definition of trope?
a trope is a characteristic or a kind of a subjective pattern that happens over and over and over again. So it's a theme that happens over and
within
over
a
again,
genre.
or an idea over and over again.
The more you know.
So one of the weird tropes is really strong women, but then anytime their lady times happen, they become just the most frail, vulnerable women on
we
the
don't
face
even.
of the planet.
We just
They
get
should
that
become
tunnel
the-
vision that girls
they should
get,
be
and
more
we don't even
feral.
know.
Yeah.
We want to be strong. We just can't because we have vagina. It's so hard. Literally is what all these movies are saying about women.
It does kind of feel that way.
But oh well.
So let's just run over the first movie, first and second movie,
Run
real
it
quick.
over.
We're just gonna run it through. So Guts is the main mercenary, the main character. He's kind of this loner. He doesn't want to be owned by anyone. He doesn't really have a purpose in his life. He just kills for money to survive, and then he just repeats the cycle over and over and over again. And then eventually he meets Griffith, and is summarily he gets his ass kicked by Griffith, basically.
Yeah. Because
And-
Griffith is he's fancy. It's Hawk and Dove, right?
Yeah.
As Griffith is the leader of the band of the Hawk, he floats as a dove. He is he wears the white, right? But it's Guts who is the Hawk. He's just I will murder, talons, you're
He's
dead.
the power with a giant sword.
And,
I changed
but
accents.
he has so much force and momentum uncontrolled when he fights Griffith that Griffith is I will use all of this momentum against you because I've done this plenty of clink, clink, clank. I own you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's he's I'm Griffith. I own you.
Okay, first of all,
Like that.
he when he takes off his helmet, first of all, he, like, takes off his helmet, and then, like, this fucking Pantene Pro V commercial appears, and, like, his hair just blows in the wind, and he just has, like, the most beautiful face in all of anime. It's, like, the way that they portray Griffith is, like, this beacon of, like almost ungodly, like an angel.
Well, that's meant to be. I mean,
yeah.
you look at him; he's androgynous, right? Like he has both male, female features.
Mm-hmm.
He has this glowing aura about him, and he can inspire with so few words. It makes sense.
It's totally like overpowering symbolism. Like, look at him wearing white all the time.
Yeah,
Even in his armor, he's always wearing white, and then he falls from grace just like Lucifer. Like, you get it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's the white-haired anime boy. He's got to either die or become a villain. Like that. The only two things that could possibly happen.
Anytime they show him too, is he's always like his back's to the sun, so he's always kind of like glowing all the time. He just like emits his own light.
They do like a what is it called, Gaussian blur in his hair every time.
Yeah.
Well, if
It's
you
really
think
weird.
about it, it's because the sun is a constant explosion, and the cool guys, you know what they say about.
Oh yeah, cool guys don't look at explosions all the time, and I totally get that. So basically, the Band of Hawks is this team of mercenaries that are trying to fight for basically the highest bidder, but they end up fighting for Midland, and they're in a war with the Tudors. Oh, the Tudors. They call the Tudors.
The Tudors.
They're the Tudors though. And so they're in this kind of like crazy battle. The Midland have decided to take the Band of Hawks as a part of their kingdom to fight.
And Griffith has a plan.
Griffith has a plan.
He has a plan.
Because if there's one thing that you can't get out of Griffith's mouth is the fact that he has a dream. Because he won't shut the hell up about it. He just every
Don't tell
time.
his dream to anyone who fucking listens, like left, right, and center. He's like, hey, you know I got a dream? Hey, you, come over here. I'll tell you my dream.
Can I tell you about my dream?
I was a kid, and I never looked up. But then I looked up once, saw a bird, saw a castle, had a dream.
Dream.
Why does he tell?
Dream.
I didn't
Everyone's a dream.
understand. I haven't seen the whole thing, but why? I haven't seen number 3. But why does he tell the princess his whole dream thing? Like,
'Cause he's trying to smash.
my friends. I didn't really think that was his purpose at the very beginning, though. I think he smashed because he was Sith. He smashed because he's Sith, but before being Sith, he just like wants like lay they built me cool. But
you figure he has this naive, ideal as he's lowborn. And he thinks, he can work his way up to being highborn, right?
Yeah.
He holds himself the way the princess falls in love with me, she'll break our father's rules.
I kind of thought he was corrupt to begin with, though, but I guess that's just me.
If anything, it's because he was so naive that all of these problems sort of are created.
Does the little egg ding dong give him? I just say ding dong for no reason. Does the little egg ding dong give him special powers, or is he just like powerful?
You'll see.
I mean, like when we were watching in number 1 and number 2,
so
does it, or is it just he's just
okay? The whole thing is, I think it's not like a spoiler to say that because what
we're
they
gonna
say,
give you spoilers, guys.
What they say, the whole thing is this is not really a spoiler. These are just covering things that you've already seen. The first 2 movies especially cover things that if you've watched the Berserk series, it has gone through already. About I believe episode 18 or 20.
Mason Love says Griffith is the most boss character. Don't talk shit about him.
No,
He's so beautiful. I'm Griffith.
Look, no one's saying that he's not a boss. All right,
But you Casca?
but he's
saved your life,
quite
love me. Thanks. Griffith.
I mean, he's quite sensuous. He's delicate.
I should voice that Griffith.
Yeah,
You should.
You
should.
Did they dub
Why
this?
did no one ask
Is
you?
there a US release
There
for
is a
this?
dub version
Okay.
of this. Yeah.
I'll do the abridged version. Thanks,
Yeah.
YouTube.
I've got guts. He's sound like this, yeah.
No.
Bring it back.
Damn it. Let's not. Let's not ruin something that I really love.
Hello, everyone.
Let's try not to.
My name Guts. I kill you now.
You're my guts now. Get inside me. I'm Griffith. I'm a dream.
I sold mid.
You guys are so amused with each other. It's beautiful.
Very
It's-
large sword.
Okay, if you're in the
Indeed.
chat, I need you guys to vote yes or no if you'd like the Russian accent. We're
That
gonna
is
take a poll.
I'm just gonna go out and just throw no. But so, like I was saying, I guess the best way to put it is that it is kind of Games of Thronesy. But when they encountered the immortal demon Nosferatu, which is
For
in the first
absolutely
movie.
no reason.
Well,
He's
they're
just, like,
rating
hanging.
it. There's technically a reason
reason.
eventually, but
It comes back around.
yeah. The fact is, you start seeing like that this world isn't just like
Simple
this fantasy
humans.
world. There's all these magical elements that these humans through like their warring can't really see. There's like two boundaries of worlds and
It's like real
Nosferatu.
life,
Yeah.
you guys.
Is it?
There's demons.
Okay, first of all, I don't want that to be true. I really
Well, guys, when we stopped the war,
Did you see Nosferatu?
Yeah, I did.
yeah,
He was great.
He's like a giant
He was like a
minotaur
minotaur.
dude
Yeah.
He
with
wasn't
like a
even-
lion
He's in the
face.
mortal too.
He wasn't
yeah.
even the right thing though, like from texts, you know, like he wasn't a vampire.
Yeah, but they're
Nosferatu, he
Japanese.
wasn't
No
the-
one cares about.
Oh,
They don't care about your
hey!
traditional
We cannot
rules.
Google. We cannot Google now. Come on, get your shit together.
Google.
Get your shit together, Japans.
Oh man. Apparently they're not. They think that you're doing a Borat accent.
God damn it!
So yeah, that's. I guess that whole
keep
Russian
the
thing is not
accent.
translating.
King of the castle.
We got 2 people who want access and nobody said no, so why not keep doing it? But I said
No more
Alright, so
accents.
So you asked if the egg gives him powers.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It sets a tone for a prophecy to come true.
That's it. Then why does it open its eyes and shit?
You'll see,
And, like,
because
You'll see.
the prophecy,
But-
the egg eventually hatches,
Yeah.
and wow.
Okay.
The way that it's explained is if you have the egg, you will be able to gain the power. Like you are essentially king. You can become a king. You
become
can
a
you
king
can access.
of something.
In
unlimited
return
power.
for your voice.
Now what the question is? What?
Oh no, that's the show after, guys.
Oh.
Can you imagine if Little Mermaid was done in the version of Berserk? Oh, by the
God.
way, in the manga there are mermaids. So I just
Oh,
wanted to tell you
yay.
that.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
It's actually a really awesome art. They're on a
Guts
boat
have sex
for like
with them?
400 chapters.
Guts actually murders Ariel. It's pretty
Yeah,
Oh, fuck,
she
spoilers.
just like
crazy. Sorry.
in the water
Don't
breaks
tell
her back
Leo.
in half.
Don't tell Leo.
And then they eat flounder.
And
It's
they
great.
eat her, and they eat her and flounder. They have sushi that day.
He was
it was a great
delicious.
day for all.
Featuring Hannibal Lecter.
My yummy, yummy boy.
Can I have 3 mermaid rolls, please?
The redhead, please. Thank you.
All right. Knock it off, kiddos. Come on.
So, what happens? Okay, so.
I like how you're still doing
Guts-
the synopsis for some reason.
Well, I mean, we're just going through it,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, we
like
should go through it.
whatever you want to
Yeah,
like
whatever.
toss in, by all means, do. Like if you want to, you know, put in terrible accents. Anyway, the point is, so Guts and Griffith are now just kind of roaming around doing mercenary stuff, like mercenaries do.
Living, loving, making dough.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
people in the kingdom of Midland do not like the fact that Griffith is rising in power.
Strong,
right?
unbeatable, nasty.
Because Griffith's main goal really is to make a kingdom for himself. So he needs to gain prestige. He needs to gain power from somewhere. And so his whole plan is to basically become a knight or be induced into the kingdom by
As
the
royalty.
king. As royalty.
And then
as
smash
nobles.
the princess, and then suddenly,
Yeah.
oh,
Smash
I feel
the
like
princess.
smashing the princess. I feel like was not a part of his plan.
It was,
It
but
was, but not. It happened
a
too
bit soon.
Yeah.
In what year of our
He
Lord did
didn't
we start?
often have that problem.
Yeah.
In what
but-
year did we start saying smash as doing it?
It actually started
very
as Japanese
soon.
slang in the Edo era.
Just,
be a
I just get a visual of like just.
Tokugawa.
Don't make up shit. Don't
So wait,
confuse these
so-
people.
Don't Google anything Clip says.
No, now all of it is untrue. Do not tarnish the good history of Japan.
When I'm on Otaku.
All right,
okay.
all right. Synopsis.
So basically, Griffith is working his way up. He's doing the social smooching, boozing. He has a class thing. He knows how to wine and dine. While he has a living weapon
got
doing
dances.
the dirty work. If you think about it, it's like Captain America and Bucky's combination. I'm going to bring it back to the West. I'm going to explain
shit.
why. Captain America was the image of justice and everything. He wore the flag. He did
Sure.
everything. But Bucky was the person who went behind the lines and did the assassinations and the killing.
Shadow shit, yeah.
In this, it's flipped. Even though Griffith is more kind of like Bucky in that he's not as powerful, whereas though Guts is like Captain America because that dude becomes the 1,000-man slayer.
Yeah, he does.
Jesus H Christ. First of all, was it really 1,000 or was it 100?
Well, technically, it was only 100.
I feel like it was 100.
But his legend is that he's a 1,000-man slayer. Because I'm sure
He slays
no one's
hearts on
who's
the
counting. They're all
side.
dead.
But really, every
Not
time he's on
really.
the field, and this is the thing I really
Well, I
like
mean, maybe
about
he
it.
does.
I mean, especially if we're convincing you all to watch this. And this is the thing.
Are
that
we?
what
Is
we're
that the
doing?
point? I don't think
I
that's
don't
the
know.
point.
I don't think we're doing a very good job.
Well, I think so. 'cause
I quite frequently
I
tell
want
people
you to
not
watch
to
it. So I'm going to tell you straight up why, because I think it's a great update. And every time Guts is on a field and there is war happening, he is swinging his sword, and I can understand how 100 can look like 1,000 after all the
Oh, dude.
and Guts and smoke is clear.
So it's just building up, actually. Like, he's like, he only killed 100 people. He's like, oh, he killed 100 people in that specific battle. It's like, what's the total up? Oh, it's 1,000 now. Now he's his 1,000 man slayer.
Oh, and then someone came out with a big novelty check. It's like, that was your 1,000th kill. Congratulations,
Confetti balls.
Guts.
He gets a big check.
Now you become the Demon Slayer. Good luck.
So what happens? Guts is an assassin, like he was saying. He's kind of like shadow end of Griffith. And so he ends up killing one of the nobles that tried to assassinate Griffith. Unfortunately,
there was another noble
witness.
involved.
And without
Who they named
without
Adonis.
him really knowing, he does kill the son, the very young son of.
See, is that a spoiler? Because that's
no,
a
that's
really
from the first
intense.
one.
Nah.
I know, but it's so like.
But this movie also came out in 2012.
Meh, meh. You've
So
had
it's
time,
been like 4
kids.
years.
Watch it.
Yeah, you've had time.
The manga's been going since the 90s, so you guys know.
So that's also you.
It's
I mean,
fine.
that was the first couple of chapters. So he kills Adonis, and it's kind of like changes stuff in him, and then I guess
Some
during this
stuff
emotional
changes.
this emotional point in his life. Let me finish, son. Let me
like
finish.
a roach, like Kafka-esque roach. It's really no, sorry.
I'm trying to throw some emotion into this man.
Oh, okay.
All right. So he's covered in blood. Okay, so this is also kind of a ridiculous scene, right? So he's covered in like this child's blood, which I'm not fucking kidding.
Children blood,
And
the best
he's like
kinds.
he's been cutting up all these people, and then Cassis and him meet up in front of the fountain, and then he hears
Casca.
Griffith talk to Princess Charlotte.
In the speech
about-
that makes no
about his
sense for
dream.
him to give. In this,
Not really. He doesn't.
There's,
Yeah, why are you saying
I
that?
have a lot of trouble with the scene because he has no motivation to tell the princess all this crazy ass deep shit because he doesn't really actually like her. And then he's also dissing his fucking friends, and you know he like his bros, he like his friends, you know.
Maybe.
Girl, listen,
I don't know.
I'm willing
Yeah,
to
because, well,
sacrifice all of them.
but you
if
know-
I could get them cheeks.
You know, because at the end of the second movie, when Guts leaves, he's like so fucked up. Like, he really did see him as an equal or something.
Yeah. Well, the idea was basically like, Guts hears this
No.
and he wants to be like his true friend. He only thinks that the way to be his friend is to be equals.
His best friend. He says
His best friend.
Shuni, and he's like, I want to be his best friend.
His basically soulmate, right?
So, star-crossed brothers.
Exactly, star-crossed brothers. But in a weird way, you can kind of think that like maybe it goes a little above and beyond just brothers. Like they're basically kind of soulmates, or at least Griffith kind of sees them as soulmates. He can't do anything with Guts, but also in a way it's like his pride is tied into Guts' pride.
Yeah, because as Guts is he's a weapon. He is the most powerful weapon.
An assistant, not a leader, if you will.
Yeah.
A project manager,
right.
not a CEO.
Exactly. Until the project manager was like, I want to become a CEO too. And so of course he's gonna feel a little bad.
I want to raise.
Yeah.
So
That's a race.
that's how the first movie ends. The second movie, I'm gonna run through this real quick.
Sonic the Hedgehog, get him.
Is 3 years later. Guts and Griffith are just still doing the thing, the mercenary thing. They're kind of like rising up in the ranks of everything.
Everything.
Of the kingdom.
Yeah.
They destroy a fortress, or they take over a
They
fortress.
take it over. Strategic,
Doldry
beautifully strategic.
from the Tudors.
The one in the title of the movie.
Yeah.
Which shows, and that shows even how strategic and how much Griffith is willing to sacrifice,
for
because
sure.
Griffith kind of sacrifices, but
He does. Well, you can't really tell because they don't really talk about that at all. It's really more implied, but it's so subtly implied. If you hadn't read the manga or like watched the series, you wouldn't quite know that there was some butt stuff going on.
oh, there was some butt stuff. Dude was excited. This dude who owned this amazing unbreakable fortress,
Boys.
harem
Boys.
of
Boys.
Harems of boys.
and harem of boys. This dude, as a king, was like, oh wait, Griffith is outside? what? Oh, we taking everybody to go see Griffith. I've been waiting for this the whole time. Except it's a war, so they're going to kill them. But the king dude is like, yeah, but you can kill them, but bring back Griffith unscratched, unharmed, please, thank you.
Because I want to make out with his
I'm
face.
trying to get some,
just
like,
want him.
And they took over the castle with that because Griffith was like, hey, I'm Griffith.
It was a
and,
poor
you know,
strategic
if we're
move.
friends.
It was, yeah, and so he basically gave up the whole thing. So the second movie ends with Guts leaving. They have like this epic battle, kind of trying to see.
Oh, you,
like, in the
you
front,
just glossed over the 10-minute ballroom scene,
I
honey.
did.
10 minutes of a weird
I'm
CG
sorry.
ballroom scene.
I'm sorry. Actually, let me go into fine detail about the ballroom scene.
Let's talk about that
Interior castle. There's a ballroom, a beautiful chandelier
Opens
floating around. The sun catches no, it's a ballroom
Belle
scene.
and Beast in the middle of the room.
I'd like to point out
Wrong movie, guys.
that Griffith has a ponytail in the ballroom scene. It's very attractive. Okay, everything changes.
Fashion tips from Griffith for sure. So we're gonna skip that part because that's what they basically do. Eventually,
It's really long.
Guts decides to leave after the ball. They all come over
It's a
like,
couple
why
years
are you
later.
leaving?
I think it's a couple years later.
Really?
Because they're
I
all
don't
dressed
remember
in
what it was.
they're dressed really
Oh
nicely.
yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
So
Fast.
Guts decides to leave after the battle
Because Guts finally gets to beat Griffith, where years ago Guts fought Griffith and
Yeah,
couldn't
it
beat
When he
wasn't
him.
tries to leave, he
Now
gets it, yeah.
this time Griffith has grown kind of soft because he's trying to become Law and he's not fighting as much.
Right.
But Guts is constantly training
Mm-hmm.
with his giant sword
yeah.
compensating.
But
Or
also-
not, I
Cuts
don't-
directly
I don't know.
through Griffith's.
Yeah. He cuts it clean in
Yeah,
half.
it didn't even matter. Griffith was like, haha, and he was just like,
yeah, no.
okay, all right, bro. Like, and he had enough. He wasn't even swinging with his full strength either because he just like, okay, I'm gonna leave now.
He just kind of like pitched it. He was just kind of like,
he's
and then
like-
broke in half.
Ha.
So because of this happening, and I guess for Griffith, it's this devastating loss, and I guess it would be. So he has a lapse of judgment,
Boyfriend just broke
and
up
he
with him,
just
man.
he just basically like goes and boinks the Princess Charlotte.
He anger
No,
fucks Princess Charlotte.
Yeah, he like
No,
straight up
no.
like he's way messed up. He's like having sex, but he's totally not thinking
Who
about
surely
it.
was a virgin.
Oh, no,
yeah.
she's
was
like
very
she's
well
like
protected.
13 or 14
Oh.
at this point too.
Yeah, but it's like the old days. It was
Yeah.
it was the time.
Yeah.
Also, Griffith's probably only like 19 anyway. It's like it's street
Who knows,
legal.
dude?
It's street legal.
It's like a little Adonis.
I mean, okay, we're talking. Let's just pretend that this was a Game of Thrones book, right? Where that was no one's like, ooh, she's 14. Like no one, whatever.
Just boinking.
It's the fictions.
Okay.
It's
So-
afflictions, affections.
So what happens is that the king, you find out, is like all about his in a weird, creepy, incesty way, all about his daughter, and he traps Griffith into the Tower of Rebirth, which is very ironic, because technically, I guess it does lead to his rebirth in a more
Eventually.
in the
fucked up
third
way.
movie. In the third movie, yeah.
Ooh. Oh,
and
beautiful.
and that's how it basically ends. That he's trapped in a tower, and then you're like, oh no, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And then,
There
Guts
were-
leaves
Can't
and
talk
it's
about
sad.
it.
As a
Happens.
whole,
Oh, it's okay.
in the second movie, there were so many lingering scenes where they would just be somewhere doing something like fighting or in a ballroom or getting ready for work, and it was just way too long. Like that ballroom scene was legit. I timed that crap. That was like 10 minutes. And someone on chat just said, I'm done. It said, it's foreshadowing. I'm like, yeah, but you can foreshadow that shit in like 3 minutes,
Right.
There's a
bro.
lot of but they really see the thing about the culmination of the third movie. They really want you to care about every last single character.
They do try to characterize
They
everybody.
really want you to care, and it makes sense. It makes and I can live with it because even as I was watching it, I realized because I have a terrible attention span that watching that, and I've seen like the movies multiple times. I turn around and I'm watching, and I don't really want to do anything else because I'm into it, and not many things can do that to me, and that's why I'm really excited about.
I think the ballroom scene has a place. I think the pacing is a little bit off because for a movie that's supposed to move as quick as it does kind of. Okay, so here's a big issue with these movies. Is that it's a mixture of 3D and 2D, which usually would be fine. But the only problem is that 2D is amazing.
It is. It's
It is
beautiful.
mind-blowingly some of the most beautiful
Yeah, I
animation
agree.
ever. And then you go into slop 3D.
Yeah.
But it
trash
goes into it for
town.
action.
Yeah.
It does.
Which-
it only
They
does it for
changed
action.
it. Did you notice from the first movie to the second movie? The first movie, they were just like, okay, all CG, let's just do this. And
Yeah.
they CG'd the faces as well. The second movie, they started doing half and half. And then I heard, I didn't watch it, by the third movie, they do
It's
half and half for
gorgeous.
everything.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, which is, in a weird way, it is fine. And from the first movie, which was all 3D, like, you can definitely tell it's a little rough. Second
So
movie, you see
jarring,
it's,
yeah.
like, refining it a little bit. But there are just moments when it just, like, you get this really epic shot. Like, one of the shots that I remember is, like, the decapitation scenes, right? So, you know, he goes in and there's a close-up of guts, and you just see, like, this really cool, well-detailed action animation. And then you just see kind of, like, these really, like, plasticky horses with, like, shit, like, with their heads popping off and stuff. And you're like, I could have used, I don't know, some more animation, maybe some, like, pencil, just something that, like, ties it together.
Pencils.
Oh, one pencil.
Just get a little pencil line, just, I don't know, something.
Throw pencils.
But it was very jarring throughout the whole series, and it kind of, even for the action scenes, the action is really good in terms of, like, choreography, but, like, it's still really stiff. It's still really...
It was
really
also,
artificial, I guess,
you
which is a
think
weird
about
thing to
it-
say.
If you think about where it came from, though, it was one of the first. I mean, as
2012.
as at its size of production
Right.
compared to the other anime that had done it, it was one of the first really big ones
Yeah.
to do it. And I guess it did something right because the fact that the 3 movies in a series. That's like kind of the opposite of what Community was trying to do, which is like 6 seasons in a movie.
Yeah.
So I think I think that's really good, and it may not have aged well, but the story and the consistency of it leading up to where it's going, I think that's worth time.
I definitely agree. And if I'm going to be fair to this movie, in 2012 there weren't many good 3D anything in Japan.
No, man.
3D in Japan was like kind of this really
they were just
misused
doing it because it
medium.
was cheaper.
They had
Yeah.
that bad apple seed. There was a thing called apple seed. There was another thing that I can't remember the name of right now. That wasn't that good.
Sextil or something.
Vexile.
Vexile, yeah.
I love nerds. I love
See,
you
no,
guys.
but what I was gonna say is like let me counter that a little bit because you know around you said you were talking 2012, like when the first movie came out, right? Now, all right, so while it wasn't the best movie, the first Final Fantasy movie, they were doing 3D
That's
very
different.
very well.
That's different.
That's
That's
not-
not. This is cell shaded though. It's
Yeah,
a different.
the difference between that and this is the fact is it takes 2 different types of rendering to do. Like one is okay, so the Advent Children movie probably cost millions and millions of dollars. The
Sure, it was
movie
worth
for
it,
this-
wasn't it?
For the Berserk movie, it's probably maybe like a third of that. And the reason is that one is just easier to do than another. Like,
Oh, for sure.
And also Square Enix is a company that's like very much used to like making cinematic
Very
3D like
Right.
you know cutscenes, and they've always been beautiful and they've had a huge history. Studio 4C has kind of a rough history, I believe. Like they did, what did they do? They did Tenkon King Crit. They did Steam Boy, which was their
Steam Boy was fun.
Steam Boy was pretty good. Steam Boy, but was one of the first animation, like full-length animations that kind of integrated 2D and 3D. So they do kind of have experience with that, and that's probably why it wasn't so shit. You know, it just was a little bit.
It was a little
more.
shit.
It was a little shit.
It was a little
It was a little shit.
Like
Just,
my
You know,
son.
animation studios are still
it's
figuring
so
that
okay.
shit out though. Like the cell
don't know that.
shading, they're still having problems with that right now. Like as everyone knows, does. The new Sailor Moon reboot first season, they were like, let's just use CG for everything because we don't have a lot of time for some reason. They didn't have a lot of time, and it looked like hell on earth. Like the CG transformation scenes were terrible, and they were like, okay, got rid of them entirely. There's no more cell shaded CG at all, and it
so-
looks way better. Lots of questions, yeah.
Some questions here. Do you guys prefer? Yeah, I know you guys might have not been familiar with the series, but do you prefer the series or do you prefer the movies?
I love the movies because the movies get it to where it needs to be. Especially in this day and age with entertainment, really.
Yeah.
I think the movies, you watch the movies, you're like, oh, it's a good movie. And then you watch the next one, you're like, oh, okay. And then when you watch the third, whenever you get it, you go,
Right.
whoa. whoa, and then you're like, there's more, and then it continues, and that builds. So I like the movies into and what it's leading up to.
Well, I'm excited to watch the third movie now. If you're that excited.
Dude. Okay. Yes, you should watch the third movie because that's what the third movie is basically when all the stuff. Like all the shit hits the fan, but also that's when they start introducing like the more spiritual elements of it.
Cool.
That's when
okay.
So this is you can't tell from the first two movies, but this is like one of the most highest fantasy worlds in like manga or even almost literary history. Like the shit that they have in this magical world is dark, fucked up, but also like the most fantastical. And the third is kind of like a taste. So we want to know about like the future, like what's coming up. There's going to be a series that's coming up that's based on the manga, which hasn't happened in the past 15 years. You got to understand how big of a deal it is for Berserk fans. This manga comes out maybe like once every 2 months. One chapter comes out once every 2 months.
It's been going on for a long time.
It's from 19 and this he said the author has said that this is like the one series that he will just continue making.
Until he did.
Until he did.
He did.
Or until he's bored.
He died.
He's definitely,
All men must die. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
So it's really awesome to see, like, especially if you've seen the trailers for the new series, that you're gonna start getting like the really, really cool shit. Like it's so amazing.
Maybe I'll just wiki the third movie. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it.
The third movie's super
The
gory
third movie's
though.
worth watching.
It's the whole thing is it's like it's very mature content.
It is.
It's kind of like
And I'm not very mature. Stop.
yeah. So
I'm 7.
yeah. What are you looking forward to? Like in the
See,
series?
I use Guts as as he is the kind of trajectory that you'll be paying attention to. I'm excited because I see the path of where it's going. I tend not to read manga unless I've already
Nice
seen the anime series.
Don't do that.
Bring
Yes.
it back.
Yeah.
And like same with JoJo, which is back and now there's all new seasons.
Yeah.
And I love JoJo so much.
JoJo.
So, but taking that and seeing Guts, the first part of the series, it's Guts. He's a boy. He has great potential, and he's taken under wings of these other revolutionaries, or however you see him, that keep him challenged. He becomes a man, a slayer of men, unstople.
Slayer of monsters. That's what he becomes.
Well, see, that's the thing.
Man on monsters.
As he grows, he's a slayer of men, but after he becomes the 1,000-man slayer or whatever, because it's so freaky, there's no man that can touch him. Then he becomes the slayer of monsters. So that growth, that development from demon slayer to god slayer to god eventually,
He gets
maybe
too
even
OP.
himself.
Let me
you know?
tell you.
Sounds like Dragon Ball to me. I'm not gonna lie.
It kind of is. The way that it progresses, it
God
like,
Saiyans, no.
yeah, it ramps up like so much. So if you want to watch something that like has a very deep progression, like the story is. There's so many facets to it and so many A, B, C, D stories out there in this beautiful world. You're going to love this new Berserk series. So we have very little time left, but what was your favorite parts, real quick?
Favorite parts? From one and 2. I think personally, anytime Guts, anytime they were fighting, I like the drama and it pulls me in. But anytime the battles are just beautiful and wonderful.
There was great choreography.
Really captivating.
They did a great job with all of their battle sequences, and it wasn't like you can tell Guts is just a giant person, so wielding the sword isn't that big of a deal to him. But all of their movements, there wasn't anything that I was just like, oh, that's super hyper unrealistic as far as his movements go.
Yeah,
Just like,
yeah.
you are
It's very
he's
grounded.
just like, and you just see him in that one scene where he like is blocking the shot, and then you just see his muscle like get like giant, and he pushes it back, and it's like this guy has clearly been training.
That's why he just does this.
Yeah,
all day.
exactly, and he's just like, okay, I swing this giant sword. I am literally a berserker. His name is literally Guts. Like
Arrows can't stop
yeah,
him.
nothing can really stop this guy. Like he's been in battles ever since he was a child. Like this is what he's grown up. This is him. And he's one of those characters that I see like going forward as, it's just like no matter how powerful he becomes, so much bad shit's gonna happen to this.
Yeah.
like it's like nothing.
Oh, you do not even know the gravity of what you just said.
But that's how I see this character. It's like, it doesn't matter. You could literally become a god that will not stop shit from going wrong around you.
You're way truer than you think you are.
Okay.
Michelle?
I gotta say, on a serious note, I did like Casca's final boss battle with the bandaged face guy. It was really good. You saw that they did every character's fighting style different, and she had kind of a more. It was almost like a Japanese sword
more
style.
calculated.
Yeah, it was like a lot of like sweeping thrusts and stuff like that. On a not serious note, I really like when Griffith jumps onto the princess's window to be like Spider-Man and be like, "I'm not gonna rape you." Not that part, the part where he's just like, looking at her window and the lightning's flashing. I'm like, dude, it's fucking Dracula up in here. It was so dramatic. It made me laugh out loud. It was great.
All right, real quick, speed rounds. What do you rate it out of 5? First 2 movies.
The first 2 movies, I mean, I'll go 4 reasonably because the third movie added takes it to 5 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4 as well. They did a lot of good stuff, and I'm excited to. I'm excited to see where they take it in the future in the third movie. I haven't seen the anime series or anything like that, but definitely a 4 as far as those 2 because I'm looking forward to the next ones.
If you gave it a 4 and you have not seen any of the previous series and have like no nostalgic like catch with it, it's done a good job.
Yeah.
It really has.
I really liked it.
Good point.
You were right when you said it earlier. You get attached to these characters and you want to see where they progress in the future.
Yeah, I know it's gonna progress. Michelle.
Well, I read all that manga when I was like younger, and even back then I was kind of like, ooh, it's run really well, but I think the content I didn't really enjoy. But I'd say in its genre, let's do this. Let's play this game. In the genre of
I love this game. This is my favorite game.
Oh, yeah.
Gory,
We do it every time.
like action for boys, definitely kind of genre. It's like a 3. It has the movies.
fair.
If you're looking at movies 1 and 2, there's a ton of pacing problems. The first movie kind of looks like shit for like 20 minutes.
For
like
30.
a chunk of the movie, it looks
Yeah.
kind of like shit, and then they start to fix some of those things in the second movie, and I hear it gets better in the third. But 1 and 2 by itself, maybe just start just like wiki the first 2, and then we just go to 3. I don't know.
I would have to say from someone that has watched the series that the 1 and 2 are a very good comprehensive like chunk of like what happened, but unfortunately I will have to give it a 3.5 because they do leave out a lot of story things like they don't really talk about Guts's like past. They just kind of gleam over it, and his past is way fucked up, so it's like he's basically a child soldier, whatever.
Yeah.
But so they just kind of like gleam through over what I feel like is very important character development. And for that, even though this is I think the whole thing is this. If you watch a series and you know what the hell this is about, 1 and 2 is a very great reminder, and it's also a cinematic like look into what that series is like.
Okay.
And otherwise, like the third movie is actually a part of the manga and totally shows you a bunch of new stuff. And then the new series is gonna like go over.
And I think it'll take you over Guts
continue.
too. I think it'll take you over Guts past the stuff that you're missing.
Yeah,
so
so
that people care. It's gonna be longer.
It's going to progress. It's going to be a great series, and I think this is a very good start they did. So that's it for us tonight. We got quick plugs. What we got? Michelle, start.
I am Michelle Chubby Bunny. You can find me everywhere on the internet at I am Chubby Bunny.
I am Wes Johnson, and I am Wes Theater on the
Ah,
internet.
thank you for that, because I really needed that.
Yeah, I know you did, Max.
I'm Flitz. I also go by Nerdsworth. You can find both of those names all over the internet.
And I'm Maxwell Song, and you can find me at Super Otaku. Next week, we have Avengers Confidential to celebrate Civil War coming out. So make sure to watch it. And we will see you next week. I bid you adieu.
You'll see the.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.